In today's Leeds news, Everton Gnonto bid rejected, Leeds to hold tribute, dressing room transfer wishes, latest on Rowe bid, Bobby Clarke interest and Rak-Sakyi decision. Morning folks, hope you're well. Jer here at The View on Tuesday morning, the 6th of August with your Leeds United news. There's a little bit of stuff floating around, we'll get into it in a second. Just a reminder, there will be a pre-recorded live stream that will go out at 7pm tonight with Kieran Maguire, where I've taken the questions that you guys all asked yesterday and I've put them to him. We've asked everything from what is PSR in simple terms, what constitutes profit, all the way up to our Red Bull and the 49ers asset stripping Leeds United. All the questions that you guys asked, they are all included in the video which will go out as a live stream tonight at 7pm, but it is a pre-record. Also, last night we did a match review with Jerry McNamee of LS11 and Joe Wayman from the Just Joe Football Show. You can check that out on the channel, or it'll be linked at the end of today's video. Right, let's crack on and get into the news, and we'll start off with news this morning around an Everton bid for Willie Gnonto. There had been some strong rumours earlier on this summer that Leeds and Everton were said to be pretty close on a deal for Willie Gnonto to move. Everton then moved and signed Jesper Lindstrom, and all of the noise around Gnonto appeared to go quiet for a little bit. This morning, information around a deal appeared to be given to local Leeds United journalists, and as per Nancy Frost and Graham Smith and Baron Cross, Leeds United are understood to have rejected a bid from Everton of an estimated £23 million earlier in this summer's transfer window. Everton are said to be long-term admirers. We've covered them multiple times on this channel over the last 2 seasons with their interest in the player. But Sean Dyche's comments last week about no more signings at Everton may appear to give a clue that once they were knocked back with Gnonto, they then moved to complete the move for Jesper Lindstrom, and therefore a move for Willie Gnonto is now increasingly unlikely from their perspective. The future of Gnonto is still in question and will remain in question up until the transfer window closes, and reports in Italy suggest that Serie A clubs Parma, Genoa and Venezia are all interested in the player as well. The report in Italy does, however, state that those clubs are interested in a loan with an option to buy, more so than a straight up bid for the player. And given that Leeds have just rejected £23 million for the player and how touchy the loan subject is around Leeds, it's very unlikely that Leeds would humour any kind of a loan with an option to buy Willie Gnonto from any club. And going off how little money there is in Italy, a option to buy from any of those clubs would just be seen as a token gesture that would ultimately never be fulfilled, because they don't have the resources to pay the kind of fee that Leeds are looking for the player. As things stand, Willie Gnonto will start the season for Leeds United as he did last season, and we will all be hoping that Willie has a different mindset going into this season and will knuckle down and focus on helping to get Leeds United back into Premier League and becoming an important player in that group, and not repeat the mistakes of the past that we saw at this time last year when Willie Gnonto went on strike to try and force a move away from the club. As it stands, he is still a Leeds United player and very much in part of Daniel Farke's plan, starting the game against Valencia and Schalke during pre-season as well. Gnonto could very well be a very important player for Leeds United this season after the departure of Crescencio Somerville, and playing him the left in his favourite position may give him everything he wants to be a success at the club. Whether he wants to stay at the club or not remains to be seen, and we won't know about that really until the transfer window closes, but we would hope that Willie Gnonto will continue to play and be available for Leeds United up until that point, and then we will see what happens with the player. Moving on to a lovely piece that Leeds do every season, and Leeds will hold their normal tradition on the opening day of the season of remembering those who had passed during the 23 and 24 season ahead of the Portsmouth season opener. The club will be holding a round of applause while the names of those who have passed appear on the big screen. They have made a form available over on leedsunited.com. You can check that out if you want to submit a name for anyone you've lost this season, and this is a lovely tribute, and our thoughts and our prayers go out to anyone who has lost loved ones over the past year or more in that regard. Moving on then to some dressing room talk, and Baron Cross has a great piece in Leeds Live this morning where he has been talking about with Junior Firpo ahead of the new season, and Firpo has admitted that the dressing room would like to see a couple of more additions before this summer's transfer window closes. Firpo, despite being in the final year of his contract, appears to have taken on more of a senior role at the club and a leadership role amongst this group of players. And speaking with Baron Cross about the dressing room's desire for more players, he said the following. We're in a much stronger position than last season when we were at this stage. If you could see today the team on the pitch, if you could see the bench that we've got, we maybe need a few more additions to have that depth. Last season was so important in some moments when we were tired, when some players were injured. I'm pretty sure we're in a really good, strong position to start the season and try and win as many games as possible. It's great to see Junior doing lots of press, lots of talking. Fabrizio Romano said earlier last month that the player himself was trying to force him to move away from the club. That appears to be the opposite of what is going on at the club right now, where Firpo visibly is being seen as a forward person in that dressing room, from the media, from the merch, even at the performances and how he's talking to players on the pitch as well. It's great to see. A very strong season for Leeds United this year. Last year he'd be a very important player for Leeds United this year as well. So great that we have him for the first day of the season. Let's hope his whole season goes injury free and we can really get the value from Junior Firpo in the last year of his contract at the club. And then moving on to the big story that came out yesterday, and some more information today. But yesterday we got information that Leeds United had submitted a £7 million bid for Norwich winger Johnny Rowe. That bid was described as an opening bid and, as expected, has been rejected by Norwich. It is expected that Leeds will increase that bid, but Leeds are hoping to get this deal done for less than £10 million if they can, and are expected to go back in with a second bid. But they were also expected to go back in with a second bid for Dejan Ljubic, and as of right now, that second bid has yet to come. Rowe himself spoke in a video that has resurfaced about playing at Anfield, Old Trafford and Elland Road, and when asked about which was the loudest, he said that he's never heard a volume like Elland Road, and said that players live for atmospheres like that, and he can only imagine what it must be like to be on the Leeds United side of that noise and that fan base at Elland Road. Clearly a player who wouldn't be opposed to playing at Elland Road should Leeds United be able to agree a fee with Norwich. Leeds, as I said, are expected to continue their pursuit of Rowe and are expected to go in with a second bid, but would like to get it done for that less than that £10 million mark, but they will need to get closer to that number if they are to get a deal done. Norwich are not said to be overly flush with cash despite the sale of Gabriel Sara. That transfer fee will be broken up into multiple seasons over the length of that contract, and they don't have parachute payments this season as they finished last year, and Johnny Rowe is in the final year of his contract, although there is an extension, but that extension has so far not been activated. There is a lot of road to still run with this one. You would like to see Leeds get it done quickly, get it done before the start of the weekend, and then move on to fill in the gaps with those last 2 or 3 positions. And then I think Leeds are in a really strong position heading into the season. But if they can't get Rowe done, there is a possibility for another player. And moving into the rumour mill territory, according to Sky Sports' Tim Thornton, Crystal Palace are said to be making a decision on Jesram Rak-Sakyi's future this week. Leeds United are said to be very interested in a move for Rak-Sakyi on loan, and Palace themselves favour a loan move to the Championship for the player outside of a permanent sale, as they view him as a solid player and a prospect into the future for the club. However, Southampton are very keen on making Rak-Sakyi a permanent signing to add to the raft of signings they've made so far this season since getting promoted. They were looking at a £12 million bid, but Palace are said to prefer a loan move for the player away from the club rather than a sale, which might favour Leeds. The problem here will be guaranteed minutes. Leeds will not offer guaranteed minutes to any player. Rightly so, every player will have to earn their position in a Leeds United squad, and that might cause issues with getting a major player on loan. But the fact that they want a loan and not a permanent move might mean that Leeds can get Rak-Sakyi in should their pursuit of Johnny Rowe fall on deaf ears. Another player that's been rumoured with a move to Leeds United as well as elsewhere is Liverpool central midfielder Bobby Clarke. And there's a bit more information on this. According to The Athletic, Leeds are joined by Sheffield United, Coventry City and Norwich City in an interest in bringing the Liverpool midfielder in on loan. However, RB Salzburg are also said to be interested in the player, but on the permanent side of things, having a £6 million bid for the player rejected. Liverpool want £12 million or are not entertaining any permanent talks. Clarke made 13 appearances for the club last season in all competitions, and new boss Arne Slot is said to be in no rush to let the player move away from the club just yet. And as of all Premier League clubs with younger players, while they're wrapping up their pre-seasons, these decisions will be made very late in the window and would likely be made once the season has kicked off. But as I said, Liverpool want £12 million if a permanent deal is to happen. Temporary access could favour Leeds as a team that is expected to be competing at the top of the division. However, the guaranteed minutes again will be a potential issue for Leeds to have to navigate. Folks, that's going to be it for me today. Don't forget to check out the interview with Kieran Maguire tonight at 7 o'clock. And I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.